This is a Violet Jester Media podcast. Once again, you've reached this epic disaster.
Yeah.
Hello, how are you? How the heck are you?
Hi.
I'm doing a Rick. How the heck are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How are you? No, really, how are you?
I don't know who you're talking about.
You.
Me?
How are you?
I'm all right. I'm okay.
You just okay?
I'm okay.
You know what I'm excited about today?
You knee surgery?
No.
I don't know.
I'm excited about Siracusa Nera.
Who's that?
It's not a person, it's a beer.
Oh, a beer.
And we're going to drink it.
You mean this beer that's here in front of us?
This beer.
Oak-aged beer in the purple label?
Oak-aged Siracusa Nera. I think I'm saying that right.
We hope so.
It's by Dogfish. Dogfish. It is a Russian Imperial Stout with Syrah grape must added and aged in oak.
All of that sounds perfect for me.
And it's 10% alcohol.
That's even more perfect for me.
Even more perfecter.
Let's find our opener and open this stuff up and have some of it.
I'm
right
going
now.
to. This is how excited I am about this beer. I just went straight for the beer today.
Yeah, I know.
None of this, how you doing?
No
how,
small talk.
Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, it's dark.
This is more of a just
That's
drink.
some dark beer right there.
It's not Scottish ale.
Very leathery looking. Very cocoa, very coffee.
Because it's a Russian Imperial Stout. And if you look to behind you on our beer chart, you will see
Got an interesting smell.
that the Russian Imperial Stout is a number 50.
Okay.
It is the most darkest, most robustest, I think, beer.
Yeah. It smells dark. It smells very organic, very dirty.
Earthy.
It's a dirty beer. This beer's dirty. You're a dirty beer, aren't you? Aren't you a dirty beer?
Don't.
Tell me you're a dirty beer.
Don't talk to my beer like that. It's not nice.
I don't really like the smell of it.
I do.
Okay. Maybe
Now-
I like the taste.
Now, remind me, didn't say anything about coffee, because I'm already smelling coffee.
No, but it's got the. I did say coffee because it's coffee color.
Okay.
It's more than anything. It's just a dirty beer. This beer dirty. You're dirty beer. Dirty.
Wow.
Really? Oh, that's some face right there. All right, I'm gonna try it.
I just tasted the beer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, there's a beer face. I see a beer face. A little bit. I
Interesting.
saw a little bit.
It kind of does taste like what it smells like.
Yeah.
Very coffee.
Yeah. Lots
Very
of coffee.
in there. And it doesn't even mention coffee.
It doesn't say a word about coffee.
All right, this is going to be an interesting beverage as we go through the podcast. It's really kind of, I don't know, it's sort of thickish. It's kind of
Thickish?
thick.
No, I mean, it's liquid.
Well,
It's
I
not
was just thinking
thick.
like Guinness. Guinness is very thick. This is kind of like, sort of like that. Not quite as creamy, but boy, it's got flavor, don't it?
It's not skimping on the flavor. This is the truth.
Ooh,
That is not a false statement.
that'll kick you in the teeth, won't it?
I think it did. I
All
think
right.
I'm missing a tooth.
I kind of like it. Kind of like it.
I like it too.
Hey, guess what I'm doing this week? I'm putting up all my Christmas stuff. All the Christmas decorations. I don't know if I'm going to put a tree up, but I'm going to put lights up and all the decorations and the towels and soaps and the little statues and the little things that wrap around things and ribbons.
Hold
and
on,
gonna be
stop.
putting pillows
No.
on the couch and
Stop.
all of that
Stop.
stuff. It's what I'm going to be doing this week.
It is November 13th.
It is, yes.
November 13th.
Christmas season.
No.
Yes.
No.
Halloween is done.
Yes.
Thanksgiving is a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So
Don't. No, don't. Don't put Christmas up yet.
There are people who do it the day after Halloween.
And they're just morons.
No, I'm not even doing that. I'm waiting for a little bit of time. But I'm a Christmas person. I love Christmas. I usually start playing the Christmas carols November 1. That's usually my
no.
time to do the Christmas carols.
Here's the law.
And I feel like now.
Would you like to know the law?
When I need to put up my decorations, I think I'm going to do it now. Not a tree. I'm not going to do the tree. Tree dies. Tree. Well, I haven't decided if I'm going to get a used one, not a used one, artificial one, or get a used tree. A used tree.
I want last year's tree, please. Okay, listen.
It's only slightly used.
You can't put up Halloween decorations until October 1st. Is this correct?
I don't know the rules on it.
That's the rules. So the rules for
Christmas. I
Christmas.
usually put up Halloween decorations a little bit late, maybe 2 weeks before.
The rules for Christmas are you cannot put up Christmas decorations until December 1st.
No. Who made that rule?
Me, just now.
See, that's
Abide by it.
That's not my rule.
That's just the law. It's the law. It's in writing somewhere. It's
I don't
a law.
think so. I feel like Christmas, and here's what I've discovered. Because like if the country's at war or there's something really awful going on in the country, I think people tend to start putting up their decorations earlier. And I feel like a lot of people have this sort of feeling of despair and hopelessness or whatever. I don't know why, but I see it all the time on my Facebook. I just feel like that. It just to encourage people, lift them up. Need to have those lights. Need to have some decorations.
I'm all for being festive and spreading good cheer.
There's no Thanksgiving decorations. I would put up Thanksgiving decorations.
There are Thanksgiving decorations.
We're in the holiday season. All right?
Put up harvest-looking decorations.
Well, some Christmas is sort of that, but we're in the holiday season, and they call it that because
there are so
Halloween,
many.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day all together.
Okay, not to mention 29 other holidays.
Kissing each other, making love to each other, and
Wait,
producing one giant holiday is what they're doing. It's like a holiday orgy going on all at once. So I really feel like that whatever you do, whenever you want to do it, with whatever holiday you want to do it with, is fine as long as you're a consenting holiday adult. That's the way I look at it. If you want to put up Halloween decorations,
You lost me.
If you want to leave your Halloween decorations up till Thanksgiving, go for it, because Thanksgiving has pumpkins in it. It's okay.
No,
you don't want spooks and witches for Thanksgiving. You might want to take those down.
Come down after Halloween.
You can have pilgrims up during Halloween if you want to,
because they're scary.
Yeah, and then you can leave those up until closer to Christmas if you choose to do that, or you can put Christmas up around Halloween if it's your choice. It's still the holiday season.
So this year,
Hanukkah is in there too. We could throw in some Hanukkah. I don't know when Hanukkah is this year.
The Friday before. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. The Friday before Halloween this year.
Friday before Halloween.
Just listen. This year, I was told that a certain home store, big box home store, had marked all of their Halloween decorations down to at least 70% off because they wanted to put their Christmas stuff out.
Right, as they should.
5 days before Halloween.
Yes, get Halloween over. Christmas is a much bigger holiday.
No, it's not.
Yes, you always spend more time and money on the bigger holidays, and Christmas is the big daddy of the year. It always is. No one looks forward to the end of the year for Halloween. They're always looking forward to Christmas. That's the way it is.
I have 3 great rules. I just want everybody to stop what you're doing and listen to these rules for Christmas, okay? Here are my 3 great rules for Christmas. Do not go into debt trying to give somebody a gift to show them how much you love them.
I agree with that.
Rule number 2.
I say don't love people, and it will save you lots of money and pain. That's my Christmas rule.
That's your Christmas number 1 rule?
Yes.
Okay, so mine is a little bit nicer, but my Christmas number 2 rule is this.
Number 2.
Number 2. Do not feel obligated to visit family if it's going to have issues with your mental health.
Or if you just don't want to. Yes, I agree with that too.
Okay. If it's going to cause you mental health issues, do not do it.
Or if your family's an asshole, stay away from
Which will cause you mental health issues.
Yeah, or you just don't want to be around them.
Yeah. Number 3, my Christmas rule. If anybody calls you fat or comments on your weight during the holidays,
listen carefully, Santa.
Eat them.
Oh, okay.
Just pull out your big badass alien bitch and eat their face.
Oh, their face.
Yes,
okay.
all of them if you can.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yes, don't eat. Don't eat.
I don't know what you're getting at. How do I know? It's festive.
I'm not doing anybody any sexual favors if they call me fat. It's not happening.
Some people get into that though. It's like, who's a fat beer? Who's a dirty fat beer? You are.
You're
dirty fat beer.
My beer is being humiliated. Are you a beer dom? You're a beer dom.
I say that to my wife all the time. You're a dirty fat beer. She hates it.
I can imagine. I can imagine she would. Because she's not a beer at all.
No, but I just want her really to call me that. That's what I'm doing it for. I want her to say it to me.
So tell her that. Tell her. You have to be honest in the bedroom.
Relationships, I can't.
You have to say, look, this is what I need to get off.
I've never been good
I
at
need
that.
you to call me a dirty, fat beer.
That's what I want. I'm not able to do that. Hey, you know what we should do? Let's play some Zapmundo.
All right, let's do that.
We need a little theme song for Zapmundo.
We do.
But we can't.
But you haven't even done my theme song from last week yet for my dad jokes.
That's your responsibility. We can't really do a Zapmundo theme song because we don't own Zapmundo. I'm not even sure we're supposed to be playing it on on the podcast.
But the game itself is not actually called Zapmundo.
They may tell us to quit.
No way.
I think we're
her
giving them
name
publicity.
out there.
I know.
That's right.
We're
going
selling
first
so
again.
many games.
I'm going first again.
So many games we're selling. I really think they should call us and thank us. And maybe give us a deluxe edition.
And call us Dirty Fat Beers.
Say, thank you, Dirty Fat Beers.
That doesn't even make any sense.
I didn't say it. You did. All right, here we go. Drop one.
Yellow. It's random.
All right. Would you rather... Zapmundo is a game of would you rather. Would you rather be a dirty fat beer? No.
Doesn't say that.
Would you rather always have to express your opinion? Yeah.
Like you do?
Or never be able to make up your mind?
Like I do.
I already know the answer.
The first one.
To always express your opinion.
Yes. I would rather always have to
You always express your opinion.
I do not.
You have no problem with that?
I do have a problem with it sometimes.
I've never been in any situation ever when you did not express your opinion. Ever.
You're lying.
Never, ever have I.
There have been several
Not to me.
situations.
Not to me.
Well, I'll tell you anything.
That's what I'm saying.
But sometimes I don't want everybody to know my opinions about things because maybe it's not the majority opinion and maybe it's not a popular opinion and maybe I don't want to get the beat down.
I think you don't care. You do it anyway. All right, here we go.
All right, go.
Blue. Nope, purple. Okay, here we go.
Purple is food and ingestion.
I'm hungry.
Me too. Okay, so would you rather...
Eat a pizza? Yes.
Ooh, let's order pizza.
I know.
Okay, would you rather eat fireplace ashes after burning wood for 5 hours?
Done it.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Or a styrofoam cooler?
Done it. Eat the cooler?
You would eat the cooler?
No, I'm asking you, is that the... I
Yeah,
have to eat
yeah.
the
These
cooler?
are these are things you have to eat. You either have to eat fireplace ashes or a styrofoam cooler.
Oh, eat the ashes.
Totally,
Yeah,
because it's
but-
organic.
Yeah, it would go through me, and it's better for the environment. It produces biodegradable poo-poo. And and with the ashes, and plus ashes taste good.
Not to mention, you and I both have probably breathed and eaten
Lots of foam.
Lots of foam.
Well, when I was a kid, I used to chew on styrofoam. It was kind of fun. But
And
I
now
was a
you
weird
just
kid, I
design it.
think. Because I never ate fireplace ashes, but I used to love to eat match heads that were burned.
Yeah, that's weird. The burned ones.
It's tasty.
So not the non-burned ones, but the burned ones.
The burned ones. Go get it.
No, I'm not doing it.
Light one and taste it.
No. Don't make me stick a lit
How many
match
times has
in my
someone
mouth.
has said that to you?
Light one and taste it.
That should be the slogan for our podcast. This epic disaster, light one and taste it.
Oh, God, no. No.
We have a new one.
You're disgusting.
Hey, okay. while we're on the topic, well, here's something. All right. I'm going to talk about something potentially controversial.
Ooh, fun.
But something I've wanted to talk about. I saw something recently about this, and I wanted to get your opinion about it.
And you know I'll always give my opinion.
Someone took a picture. Yes, you always do. Someone took a... Oh, I haven't even done my Zapmundo.
Oh. Sorry.
We're just going on. Here's what I think.
I totally just gave up on you.
I think it, or did I?
No, you didn't.
I did. I dropped a purple one.
Oh, that's right. And you did fireplace ashes.
I ate the fireplace ashes.
Jesus Christ.
See, I can make you do anything. I could really make you believe anything. All I just say is that that was the last episode. That was the last episode of the show, not this one.
What?
When I did the fireplace ashes.
No, that was just now.
No, that was the last one.
That was just now.
I should go ahead and do a new one.
It was just now.
See, you just give your opinion all the time. Okay.
What are you even talking about?
So a friend of mine posted a picture of
Rick's being an ass, by the way.
Of these guys walking around with signs that were anti-circumcision signs. And
they were protesting circumcision?
They were. They had on white clothes and white pants with big red bloody areas at the crotch. And it was obviously to make a point.
So they weren't on their periods?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But they were trying to call attention to circumcision and saying that it was, their words, it's cruel.
It's cruel.
To a child. They said it was cruel.
Okay.
So I want to get your opinion, even though it's not something, number one, you probably ever have had to or will have to make a decision about.
Not for me, no, because I personally don't need to be circumcised.
And it's not one that's been made for you.
No, nobody decided to circumcise me.
Right. So I just want to get your opinion.
Okay.
See what you think.
Well, okay. I did a little reading about circumcision. Now, my first husband was not circumcised.
Okay.
And I, honestly, as far as sexuality is concerned, I never... there was no difference in intercourse, per se.
Okay.
Between a man who is and is not circumcised. At least not in my experience.
Uh-huh.
Other people may have, maybe he had a little foreskin. I don't know. Anyways, so how do I feel about somebody circumcising
I don't know. In some ways, I feel like maybe
baby.
You might have crossed the personal line. Maybe.
I didn't say he had a little penis.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he might not have wanted you to say that about... You could have just said past relationship I was in.
Oh, my first husband doesn't listen to this show.
He might start.
Never.
He might be going to the not circumcised focus group, and people are like, hey, have you heard this podcast?
No.
We're talking about it.
No.
And I think they were talking about you.
No.
Could happen.
Doubtful.
Okay.
He probably doesn't even remember me. It's been so long.
All right.
Anyways, so circumcising a baby.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't agree with
circumcising the baby.
Circumcising an infant, or modifying an infant's body in any way, shape, or form.
Well, now,
unless it's medically necessary for them to live.
You can argue that circumcision is medically necessary.
Not for them to live.
There are some doctors who feel that it is. There are some doctors who
they're
feel
not going to die
not.
if they have foreskin.
No, they're not going to die if they get their tonsils taken out. But sometimes you have to make that decision. And I feel like, I'm not saying tattoo their chest. I'm not for that. But I feel like
it's an unnecessary thing.
Possibly.
It is an unnecessary procedure to do to an infant or anybody unless they request it.
Yeah.
And a baby is not old enough or knowledgeable enough to request it.
One thing that I do not know that I would like to know is what kind of pain is involved if you have it done as an older person. Let's say maybe 13.
Okay.
As a 13-year-old, if you have it done, I'm wondering what kind of pain that you have.
Well, in the reading that I did, I discovered that you have to be under general anesthesia to have it done. So you think
genital anesthesia?
No, general.
Oh, okay.
Anesthesia, which means they knock your ass out. So that means
to have it done.
Yes,
sure.
Yes.
But you're going to be feeling it for several days.
There's about a 10-day recovery time.
I can't go that long without jacking off. I mean,
oh my god. Why? Why do we need to know that?
This beer has 10% alcohol in it.
I can tell.
No, but I just wonder what kind of pain is involved in this. Because here's the deal. I have not, I just assumed that most people were most dudes were circumcised when they were a kid.
In the
And
United States, that's true.
When I started growing up and looking at other guys' wieners, I realized that was not true.
That's true. It's not
And
true.
I was just like, what is going on? And then you realize, oh, well, like when it happened to me, I was a little baby. I didn't feel it. I don't remember it. I don't anything.
Mm-mm.
It's just you get older and it's like, boop, it's there. And there's never been a single time when I've wanted my foreskin back.
Well, I mean, you don't know that, though. You have no comparison.
Except one time I couldn't think of what to give someone as a wedding present.
Foreskin would be an amazing wedding present.
Well, I mean...
Especially an infant's foreskin.
Like little earrings.
Well, it would have been yours,
Well,
and it was gone when you were an infant.
Hey, there's a whole industry.
What?
Those people that stretch their earlobes,
Yes?
they could sell those back to the guys that want their foreskin back. They could just...
So you can get a foreskin transplant.
That's what I'm thinking. Those people that are like enlarging their earlobes.
Right.
I mean,
It's called gauging, but
what do
yeah.
you charge? Like $30,000 for those?
Well, I've seen some reconstruction where they've actually removed the gauge from the ear and reconstructed the lobe to look
Right.
like it hadn't been done.
Right.
Some of them quite well done too.
Or
So
if
what
you
do they
don't
do
wanna-
with that skin?
I don't know, but what if you don't want to go through that and you could just have yourself circumcised and just kind of sew that to your ear?
And make it look like
So
you
it
have
looks
gauged
like
yourself.
you've done that. There's so many options.
There really are.
This is why I'm all for circumcision, because it produces so many options that you haven't thought about. People are just like, no, I'm against it. It's like, have you ever thought of putting it on your ear?
Now, from what I read, the United States is probably the main culprit when it comes to circumcision.
I don't know. Well, it's a religious thing. I mean, it started, started with the Jews, the Jewish thing. It's I guess, Israel. I don't know. I guess it still is. It is the covenant between God and Abraham. And you don't know this? This is
No,
what
I don't know this.
This is what circumcision is. It's a religious it's to mark the covenant between God and Abraham.
I didn't
And
know
so
I didn't know it
it's
was a
vi-
covenant.
Yeah, it's a biblical thing.
I knew it was a biblical thing. I just didn't know
All
the
the
story.
little Jewish boys have it like that. And then it just got picked up by the Christian boys too because it was fun. They're like, let's do it to everybody.
Let's do it.
It just seems like something we want to do. But I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. And I always thought it was weird when people didn't do it. But now I think I can see what are you doing? What is going on over there? That's when we need a video.
I was playing with my beer bottle caps.
You put beer bottle caps on your nipples while I'm talking
I
about
want to see if it'll
circumcision.
hold.
That's wrong.
Never mind. Moving on.
Holy crap.
It got you to shut up, didn't it?
No, I didn't want to shut up. I had a train of thought here. I just feel like that now when I think about it, I feel like maybe because it is something that you can't really reverse,
No.
it should be something that people are allowed to make for their own body.
Agreed.
Because, like you said, it isn't necessary. I mean, okay, it could still be the covenant between God and people or whatever, but we'll start the covenant at 13 when they're bar mitzvah or whatever.
When they decide.
That might be very offensive to Jewish people. If it is, I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to be offensive. It's probably my ignorance. I don't understand. Why does it have to happen
At
as
birth.
a baby?
Yeah. I don't get that either. I mean, and
I mean,
lot
when
of
you're
the,
13, you're using it at
Right,
that point.
right.
A lot.
and that could be punishment if you think
Maybe
about
it
it.
is. Well, I know the punishment should be then that's you stop them from using it for at least for
10
10
days.
days.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is a
the
long
punishment.
time for a kid. That's
Right.
eternity right there.
Right. So if you catch a 13-year-old jacking off
He's not circumcised.
with mayonnaise,
Wait,
then
what? Why did you bring condiments into this? With mayonnaise?
Because 13-year-olds can't get a hold of lube.
And so you immediately go to mayonnaise. Wait a minute.
Okay, vegetable oil. That's in mayonnaise.
I don't even know what's going on. No, do you only date people who work in fast food restaurants?
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
No, I do not. And I personally don't use mayonnaise to masturbate with.
Well, I hope not. Jeez.
Because I'm not 13, and I'm old enough to go to the store and buy Astroglide.
Yeah, or Miracle Whip. Go with the...
It's too tangy.
Oh, man. I really wasn't intending it to make this turn. I didn't think this is what we would be discussing. I really thought it would be an intelligent discussion.
Then why'd you have it with me?
On circumcision.
That was your first mistake.
I believe that, I think that it probably should be something that the decision the dude can make for himself.
And I will tell you,
I would probably be okay with that. Although I will say I would not have wanted to do that later in life. I'm glad it happened early.
Well, okay, so on the religious aspect of it, okay, I understand parents wanting to do it for their infant children as a religion thing.
Yeah.
But even baptism, the child has to make the decision to be baptized in a lot of religions. They will dedicate a baby when they're born, but in order to be baptized, it's the child's decision. And they have to follow certain rules to get to where they can be and have the conversations and whatnot before they can actually be baptized. And they have to be of age to make that decision.
Yes.
Whatever age that is.
Well,
so
I mean,
wouldn't you think that if you're going to actually be modifying your physical form, that you would want them to also be of age to make that decision as well?
Yeah. Apparently it was commanded the other way, so that's why it's done that way. But I mean, like baptism, like for Catholics and Methodist babies or people, they're baptized as a baby, so they don't make that decision.
Right, but then they have to be, what is it? Even if they're baptized as a baby where they spit water in the kid's face or whatever it is that they do. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be offensive. I don't understand it. So I make fun of it because that's what people do.
I can only tell you what baptism represents from the Southern Baptist standpoint, because that's how I was raised. Not only does it stand for washing away sins, but it also signifies the dying of the old person and the resurrection of the new person. And as you're doing that, you're rising from the water and becoming a new person. It's symbolic, obviously.
Right, obviously. And that should be a decision made by a thinking person.
Yes.
Who can decide to make that change in their life and to live now as this new person. Mm-hmm. And an infant is not capable of making that decision.
Well, okay. Now, let me tell you how I got on this train of thought.
Okay.
Because it's kind of silly. We were talking last week about adoption, just for a brief moment. We were talking about that, about like being adopted by like interracial couples, or even, let's say, a baby born in China is adopted by a couple here in the United States.
Sure.
So that child is going to be raised as basically an American baby. Mm-hmm. It's not going, I mean, that you could teach the child its heritage.
I would hope that whoever's the parents would teach all cultures. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, doesn't that happen in just as a child? You are circumcising their mind.
Ooh, that's deep.
You are creating a human being by what you put into their mind.
True. And
they have no choice on it. You can say you have a choice on whether you want to accept it or reject it, but a child does not. If you tell a child that Santa Claus comes every year and delivers toys, for at least for a certain amount of years, that child will believe that.
True.
Because you have told the child that.
True.
If you tell a child that something political, I'm going to be specific,
right?
At least until a certain age, your child will kind of parrot that back to you. Mm-hmm. And if you teach them that, if someone calls you a name, you punch them in the face, they will do that.
Right.
So you're basically carving their mind, carving their thoughts. When they get older and at any point, they do have the possibility of changing their mind and saying, no, it's a little difficult. I think we all sort of, to one extent or another, act and react how we were taught to act and react. But I don't know. And then I started thinking, I thought, The rule should be if you have a child, you get them for 2 weeks, and then you pass them on to another couple, and then that couple gives you their kid. And everybody does that. All children are part of an exchange program.
What?
And you just move. That way a child gets to learn so much, and it learns a little bit of everything. It learns every point of view.
Except for how to bond with human beings.
Well, no, it bonds with so many human beings. But it gives a child an opportunity to be exposed to several different ideas.
I mean, I like that idea. I like the idea of it takes a village to raise a child. And I'm hoping it would take multiple different villages to raise a child, because that would be a very well-rounded child. However, that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to give up their baby.
No, I know. I know it's not. But I'm
Right.
just saying, I was just thinking, we get so hung up on the physical thing, chopping off
Skin.
the weenie tip. And
Is that the new, the
yeah,
the medical phrase
it
for it?
is.
The weenie tip?
I looked it up.
Okay.
But we don't care about, necessarily teaching a child racist thoughts.
Well,
That will stay with them for their entire life,
right.
just like circumcision.
Okay, but the person teaching them that has to honestly believe
Yeah.
that they're teaching their child correct.
Well, they do when they're circumcised too. They believe they're doing the right thing
I agree.
most of the time.
I agree.
I just feel like, okay, I guess what I'm getting at is, if we care about letting a child make the decisions for their own body, maybe we should also care a little bit about them making the decisions for their own mind.
I do, and I think everybody should.
How do we do that? I'm not. I remember when I was in college, or right out of college, having a discussion with my best friend about, he didn't believe that kids should be taught anything about religion, God, anything like that. When they're kids, they should wait until they're older before they're exposed to that, and then they can make decisions themselves. And I was very much against that at the time. But it makes sense now.
It makes perfect sense.
In a way, it doesn't. It interrupts the family dynamic. If you are a family of believers or churchgoers or whatever, and you're not allowed to teach your child that, and your child can't go to church with you or whatever, that certainly is going to be a problem.
Right.
So, that's part of being in a family, is everybody kind of thinking similar and whatever. I don't know. I think that we tend to move away from that. Now we kind of want people to all think the same. We want all of our friends to, you see it on Facebook. If you think this way, then just go ahead and unfriend me now.
Right.
Don't be in my circle.
Right. And in all honesty, I prefer to keep some of those people that think differently than me around, just so I know what else is out there. Not the vicious people, not the hate-filled people.
Yeah.
But people who have a different point of view. I am open to hearing their point of view, just because it keeps my point of view, and it keeps me clear on what my point of view is. And I've never said, you know what, I don't want to hear your side of things because it doesn't matter, because you're wrong. I mean, I've never said that, except for people that are hate mongers, because they are wrong.
I do think it's kind of interesting, though, talking about circumcision, that a lot of times women will say that men should not be in charge of making the decisions for their body, which I believe, but yet mothers will often be the ones making the decision for circumcision.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's something to think about. It's an issue I'd love to know what our listeners think about. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think from a society standpoint, it's something we kind of we just accepted for so long. But we also live in a society where there's so many people who now live here that didn't grow up like we all grew up, or
True.
like some of us grew up.
True.
They're not all Christians. They all don't have that Christian influence. They don't have the Christian background. And even some people who made the decision not to do that, I don't know. We're just a big pool of different ideas and people. But I would love to know because I know some of our listeners are very much against it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, okay, also, if you think about it, let's say the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, doctors just did it.
Yeah.
Or they just told the mother, this has to be done.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a choice. I don't know anything hardly about that that thing. Do they come to them and say, do you want this to happen? Or did they
I think,
just do
now
it?
they have to
I've
ask.
never asked my mom that.
But back in the day, did they ask any permissions?
Well, in the Jewish culture, it's a big celebration. It's a big ceremony.
It's called a bris, right? A bris?
Yeah, yes. But in Protestant ceremony, it's just what you do.
What the doctor does.
Yeah.
And
like cutting the umbilical cord. It's like, wait till he agrees on that. Don't cut that yet. Wait till he's 13.
That could kill him.
Then cut it. He needs to make the decision whether he wants his belly button to be an innie or an outie.
But that's different because that is medically necessary.
It's also
whereas, whereas cutting off, foreskin is not medically necessary. Now, everything I read in regards to adults who decided to be circumcised later in life that weren't as infants, surprisingly, a lot of them said that for the most part, it didn't really change anything. Mm-hmm. Several of the men and these were intellectual men that put out their actual stories online and said, they did notice a heightened sensitivity during sex, and they noticed that when they were not circumcised, that if they didn't shower every single day, that there tended to be more of an odor that would occur due to cleanliness. Mm-hmm. Not that they were dirty or anything. It's just, if you don't wash your pits for a while, you're going to stink. And they said that tended to go away. They could go camping and not have that happen. And they could go a couple of days without washing. So ultimately, if you're taught as a child how to take care of yourself and clean yourself properly, it's not an issue where you're going to end up with some sort of infection or anything. But there apparently will be some sort of an odor.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Don't know.
I mean, that's what I'm reading from these men, and they said that they noticed that went away after they got circumcised.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know.
I would be curious, and I would like to hear from, and I don't know, maybe people are uncomfortable talking about it. If you're not uncomfortable talking about it, and if you had this done as an older person, I would like to hear the experience. Is it painful? Because here's the thing, really, it is just skin. Mm-hmm. If you cut any part of your skin, if you have a paper cut, it hurts for a while. But so there's going to be some pain, but I can't imagine that it's not like healing a broken leg or something. I can't imagine it being the most painful thing.
No.
But it's got to be a little stingy.
And it's going to sting a bit.
Yeah.
Some Bactine. Yeah, Bactine. That's it.
Stay out of the salt water.
Well, okay. It's proven that injuries to genitals tend to heal faster than other areas.
Really?
Yep.
You proved that.
It's true. I'm not going to go into it, but
you've had an injurious genital.
I've had a genital injury or two, and I
think that's broken, Mrs. Brown. We're going to have to put a sling on it.
No. Okay, I'll tell the story.
No,
it's awful.
No.
I went to get a Brazilian wax once.
Whoa. Hey, wait a minute.
I had never had one before.
This is not called for.
And they were using strip wax instead of using the sugar wax. Now, strip wax will adhere to your skin.
I had it done with beeswax. Those things hurt so bad. Those bees they would not leave.
There was a section of skin just inside the outer labia that they used strip wax on, and when they ripped the strip off, the skin came with it. Yes, it did.
Son of a...
It was about 2 inches long and about a half an inch across. Skin removed.
That's not Brazilian. That's Nazi. That's Nazi wax.
Nazi wax. Yeah, and I had to walk back to work.
And not straight.
I did stop at the bar and have 3 martinis.
If I could walk that way, I wouldn't need the talcum powder. Ow, that's ridiculous.
But it was fine within 3 days. It was totally fine. Totally fine. Not a problem.
Okay. That hurts. That's wrong.
You don't even have a labia and it's making you uncomfortable.
I do not, and yes.
Which part is making you more uncomfortable? The idea of the pain?
The pain, it hurts. But see, I know. That's just, it hurts. Ow. Yep.
Yeah.
Skin ripping off hurts. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, anyway, feel free to weigh in on this if you have no shame or embarrassment. You could do that.
Nobody's listening to us, Rick. At this
That's
point,
right. No one
nobody
listens to,
is listening to us.
Our non-existent listeners, if you choose to do something, just don't worry about it.
I'm just going to break up the monotony of our conversation because it's so boring at this point.
What's boring about having a Brazilian wax that rips off your entire genitals?
I didn't do that.
That's not boring at all.
Oh, my God, no. Okay, so I have a book called Weird Shit. And I randomly moved to a page that has a tiny story on it that I'm going to read to you.
Okay.
Okay, just get comfy. Are you sitting comfortably?
Hold on. Okay.
Good. All right. Some people chase thrills regardless of the consequences, and such a case was reported in the Japan Times in April 1997. The story concerned a Thai boy who was heavily Thai boy.
That's not racist at all.
He was a boy who was Thai.
Excuse me, Thai boy. Come here.
No. Okay, this is an old book. Anyways, moving on. It concerned this boy who was heavily into the craze known as pumping. This involves participants inserting a bicycle pump into their rectums so that the sudden rush of air creates a momentary high.
I'll take the Brazilian wax. I'm sorry.
In order to maximize his pleasure, the boy went a step too far.
That has already happened.
He and some friends went to a petrol station. Where he inserted a compressed air line as far as he could into his rectum.
That's right. And he wrecked him.
Within moments of him placing a coin in the slot to start the air.
Wait, stop. So, okay. So you drive up to the gas station.
Yes.
And there's a Thai guy there with his pants down and a hose up his ass.
Yes.
This actually happened.
Yes.
Right in the middle.
Yes.
And you just let it go.
And he put a coin in the slot to start the air. And as soon as he did so, he exploded. The police commented, when that quantity of air interacted with the gas in his system, it was like an atom bomb went off. We still haven't located all of him. Don't try this at home or at your local petrol station.
Okay, I have a couple comments. First of all, that's just Darwin. That's the whole that's the whole thing of just, I mean, that person doesn't need to be here anymore. That's number one.
Well, we still haven't found all of him, so
we're still trying to find him to bury. Second of all, I don't believe a word of that.
Really?
I don't think that happened.
Okay.
That's way too far-fetched. I want the news story. I want the articles. Does the site any kind of articles?
Fact-checked?
I want it fact-checked.
Okay.
I think it might be based on some truth. I can't imagine pulling up to the local Shell station and seeing a Taiwanese guy there blowing up his butt. I don't think that happened.
I'm pretty sure it didn't happen midday. I mean, I'm just guessing here.
Middle of the night.
I'm speculating.
What if he accidentally got the kerosene pump? That would be awesome if he did that and then lit it. Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, it's just as far-fetched as the guy who put a gas mask on and then put the end of the hose up his rectum.
Right.
And then suffocated to death.
God. There are a lot of documented, we don't need to go down this path, but there are a lot of documented cases involving vacuum cleaners. I do know this for a fact. I read a story too, and this is just a warning.
A warning.
About a woman who performed a sex act with a champagne bottle or a wine bottle and pulled her insides out. Because what happens is, if you do that and there's no cork or anything on the top, you create a suction. And when you pull it out, you will do heavy damage to yourself. So please, if you're going to do that, drill a hole in the bottom of the bottle.
Or just buy a dildo.
Something like that. Yes.
It's not embarrassing anymore to own sex toys.
Right.
It's not. You can buy them everywhere. You can buy them on Amazon.
Or just use box wine.
No.
I'm just saying. It's so much safer.
Oh, dear. How did we get here?
You decided
How did we get
to
here?
tell the story of the Thai boy who became a balloon. He was a Macy's Day Thai boy. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious, after all of this talk,
If
my God.
we're ever going to have a listener ever again.
What do you consider sex? Now, that I know is a loaded, weird, almost incomplete question, but as far as a definition of sex, I was thinking about the whole Bill Clinton thing when he got in trouble for lying about saying he didn't have sex, and then he tried to say what happened wasn't sex, right? That was his whole thing. And so I started thinking, do you consider that sex? What do you consider sex? Is just intercourse sex?
No.
Is genital to genital touching just sex?
No.
What includes sex to you?
Anything that's sexually gratifying.
What is sexually though?
If you get off on it.
Some dudes watch, gymnastics and do is that sex? And when you're saying getting off, what do you mean?
Well, okay, there's a difference. There's
I have a
sexual
feeling we
activity.
might want to do a little warning that this following conversation might be not safe for work. I don't know that that's the way it'll go, but
This entire podcast is not safe for work.
this podcast is not safe for human beings.
For human consumption.
That's right.
At this point, please don't
Think
consume
about-
this podcast.
Don't listen to this podcast
Don't
anymore,
do it.
people.
You don't
just
want to.
Cut it off right now.
Okay, so now you're making me think. Okay,
yes.
because there are fetishes.
Yes.
And a fetish is something that is, the definition is something that somebody needs in order to get off sexually.
Let me stop right now and let's set the bar way over here. Let's
Okay.
put the beginning point way over here. Is kissing sex?
No. But it
Why
is
is it
intimate
not?
activity.
It is sexual.
It's intimate.
Is kissing genitals sex?
Kissing them?
Yes.
Like a peck on the dick?
Sure.
I'm going to go with yes.
How about the belly button?
No.
So there's a line somewhere in between the belly button and the penis where it becomes sexual. Where is that line?
The pubic bone?
Where's that?
I don't know. I
And
don't
so-
know. Okay, so if I kiss another man's belly button or another woman's belly button
Yes.
or anybody's belly button,
Yes.
I'm extremely intimate with that person at that moment.
Most likely.
Otherwise, I'm just giving them a raspberry on their belly, in which case I'm probably going to be fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you're just a really obnoxious parishioner at the church.
Right. Come here.
Yeah. That used to happen to me all the time.
Oh, that's right.
I hated that deacon. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh God. Okay. So there's a fine line between intimate activity and sexual activity, and I honestly
That's what I'm trying to find out. What
don't
is
know
sexual?
where that line is.
Does anybody?
You'd have to ask anybody.
I'm just wondering what is sexual, because is texting sexual? Can you, if I send a picture of my wang to you,
Which you've done.
not recently, is that sexual?
Yes. But it's not sexual
because
activity.
it involves the wang.
It's not sexual activity.
I want to point out that we do use the medical terms on this podcast.
Wang and boobies.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying there's no contact that's even happened.
Correct.
Is it sex?
No. It's not sex. It's a invitation to sex.
Okay.
It's more of or it may not even be an invitation to sex. It's a declaration of what you would like to happen.
Is it being unfaithful?
Well, that depends. Who are you sending it
It's
to?
just two different things, I guess.
Two totally different things.
So how could something be unfaithful if it isn't sexual, do you think? I
Well,
mean, I
there
guess
are-
I can see.
there are-
Yeah. I can
okay.
Because you can be emotionally unfaithful.
Yes, you're going to get into something very deep here. You can absolutely be cheating on your partner without ever having touched another human being.
How does that happen?
Because you can be emotionally cheating on your partner.
Well,
You can become emotionally intimate with another human being to a point that you are not with your partner.
Uh-huh.
And that is cheating.
I've never cheated on anyone I've been with that I'm aware of. I don't think ever. I've never done it in marriage. I've never cheated. When I went through my first divorce, toward the end, I became extremely emotionally attached to another human being.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would, especially since our marriage was ending, I don't know that I would say that was cheating.
I don't know either.
There's so many lines that I want to get into. I want to find this out. I need to discover.
Why?
I'm interested. I want to know what's. A lot of the times, the rules are just what you establish. So every relationship, like there's no real rule of what is yes or no. And like in your relationship, just looking at cleavage of some dude's butt walking down the street could be considered wrong.
Okay, not in my relationship. If you want to look at some dude's butt, you want to look at some girl naked, that's fine.
I know, but I'm just saying in some relationship, that's wrong. So if someone does that, they've broken that
trust.
Relationship. So they have cheated in that relationship, whereas some other relationship you may not have cheated. Maybe nothing. It may be
now, let me ask you this, though. Along those lines, when are those ground rules set down in a relationship? When does that happen?
Man, we got so many hours of conversation next year. We have to get into all
I
this
know.
stuff. Because, I mean, you think about it. So I'm always interested in, like, swingers.
Yeah.
Or, well, I guess it's all swingers. Like, people who go out and then meet other couples and try to bring them back. Or meet other people and try to bring them back.
Why is it? This just makes it sound like conniving. Try and bring them back. It's like,
well, a lot of times
what
they
if
do.
they're
Like,
meeting in order
back?
to come back?
Well, okay. Just because I'm using one example, I'm not saying that's the only example.
Okay.
But sometimes that happens. But there's also relationships that are set up to where, and you can call them polyamorous or just not even that. It could be anything where it's just like the rules are, if you want to have sex with someone else, go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me about it. Mm-hmm. Or you can tell me about it. You have to tell me about it. Whatever the rules are, I don't know.
Right.
So
when do you lay those rules down?
But it's so weird, though, that an entire relationship, an entire marriage can break up for, quote, unfaithfulness for doing something that another marriage
is perfectly fine.
Yeah, totally. They do it every day.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
It would be interesting to find out the legal definition of infidelity. Because there was a time in history, not that long ago, when a woman could not file for divorce unless her husband had been unfaithful.
Yeah.
So what legally did that mean?
Yeah, we should look that up.
I'm interested to know what would have had to have happened in order for it to be unfaithful.
Well, the
legally.
whole thing with Bill Clinton was he tried to say that oral sex was not sex.
I disagree.
I disagree, too. I think he disagrees. I think he was doing it because it was an argument that he thought he could win.
Right, which is not right.
Yeah, but if it's not sex, if you say it's not sex, would you be comfortable with your daughter doing it to her boyfriend on prom night?
Right.
Because
but they're
then
not having sex.
It's not sex. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Now that line that I was talking about between intimate activity and sexual activity, maybe for the Clintons or some other family, that line is drawn at genital penetration.
Well, let's say you are attracted to someone at work. You have been for a while. And that person comes up and touches your lower back and smiles at you, and you become aroused. Is that sexual?
No.
Was that sexual from that person?
No.
Why? Why not?
Because that person is not doing something sexual at that point. They're just touching me.
So, if a high school male feels up, has, whatever a drunk female, just to see what she looks like, what she feels like, whatever. It's not sexual. They're just doing it for fun. Is that sexual?
Wait a second.
Sex?
Wait, you just brought in a whole new level of. Okay, so explain this scenario to me.
I'm
again.
just saying. Let's say you got a kid, high school male kid. He's at a party. Some girl is drunk. She passes out. He just wants to see what she looks like naked. He wants to see what boobs feel like. He wants to see what it feels like just to touch this. Not necessarily sexual. Just wants to see what it's like, and he does it. Is that sexual?
It's assault.
Yeah,
it's absolutely assault.
But is it sexual?
I would say yes, because he's doing it.
He's not meaning it as sex.
How do you know?
I'm just saying he says he's not meaning it as sex.
He just wants to see what a naked woman looks like.
I remember those
days. And he found a drunk naked woman who's passed out. And he took advantage of her.
And I always had consent. Let's just say that. I always had consent. I encourage everyone to have consent.
Yeah, and consent can happen, and taking away consent can happen.
Sure, that never happened.
At any time.
I just want to brag a little bit and say no one has ever taken their consent away from me. I mean, I feel proud about that.
I'm sure you do.
No, and I'm not trying at all to take this not serious. In fact, I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this. What is sexual? What is not sexual? If sexual is... We should be attorneys. If sexual is in the definition of sexual is in the hands of the people doing it, then what happens to one person might be sexual to them, but what happens to the person doing it might not be sexual.
I see. So the guy was just taking the drunk, passed out woman's clothes off for science.
For just experience. Maybe he just wanted to see it. What if he kissed her? You said that wasn't sex. What if he kissed her?
There's a difference. This woman is passed out. Anything that's happening to her while she's passed out is against her will, and it is assault.
Can you wash her hair?
No.
Okay. Is that assault?
Yes.
Washing hair is assault?
Yes.
If someone's passed out?
She hasn't consented to allow him to wash her hair.
If you woke up and your hair was washed and styled, you would love it.
No. I wouldn't. I'd be like, either my dog has talents I did not
someone
know
snuck
about,
into your house,
or someone busted in. There was a home invasion, and they decided to wash and style my hair.
All right, I'm going to stop the conversation here, just because I think we could go on for another show, and maybe we should. Let's put this.
Let's be a little more prepared next time.
Let's put this off for a future episode next year. We'll get into the whole sex, and I would love for our listeners to weigh into this. I want to know what the definition of sex is, because I'm going to bet no one has a definition. You can't say it's penetration. You can't say it's just... there are people who get arrested for going to Tokyo Spa, truckers who go to Tokyo Spa and get arrested. No penetration has happened in some of those cases, just a lot of soap. That's what it is.
Actually, if you want to get into that conversation, as far as the massages with the happy endings,
yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
I have no problem either. But here's what we have: we have two adults consenting,
exactly,
and they're getting arrested.
And that doesn't. That to me doesn't make sense.
But then you see people,
because they're calling it prostitution.
Then you see two people who there weren't consent, and no one got arrested.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'd like to hear from our listeners. A lot of time, I don't know who our listeners are,
because they don't talk to us.
If they want to step up and they want to actually say what they believe sex is, what the heck is sex? I don't know what sex is, but what is it? What do you consider sex? What do you consider sexual? And what do you consider being unfaithful in a relationship? Is unfaithfulness strictly doing the rules that you set up in your relationship, going against those rules? Is it just that? Or is it doing what you think the other person wouldn't like? Or is it doing what you wouldn't like the other person to do? There's a lot of things that
There's a lot. That's going to be the most blurred line, is what is cheating.
It's all blurred. I think sex is blurred. We pretend like we understand what it is, but really we don't. There's no, just like you can't find the line between the belly button and the Johnson.
So it becomes intimate. It becomes sexual. At what point?
And not even intimate. I mean, if you're doing a theatrical play and you have to kiss someone on the belly button, is that intimate? No, it's your job. It's your play. You just do it. You do it every day. You do it all the time. You're used to it.
But you're depicting intimacy.
If you might be depicting it, but it's not intimate to you. If you are a porn star and your job is to have sex, you're penetrating every day. It's your job with more than one person all the time, whatever. Is that intimate? Is it sex to you? Does it become sex? Does it become intimate?
I don't know. We need to talk to a porn star.
I read that women, some of the women say, yeah, we have orgasm, but it's your job. I wished I had an orgasm in my job, but I did once, but they told me to leave.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Well, I did once at work too, and I was just really quiet about it. Nobody knew.
All right, we're getting silly. 10% alcohol.
10% alcohol.
Hey, let's review this beer and say goodbye to our great friends who are stuck with us through all that stuff we just talked about.
Wait, I want to revisit something from the beginning of this podcast.
Okay, let's rewind.
We already had the Speaking in Tongues podcast.
Yeah. What are you reviewing?
No, that's what it just sounded like you just did.
Sorry.
That's okay. Do not put up Christmas lights.
Put up Christmas lights.
Until
I'm thinking about it.
December 1st.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Don't
I think I'm
do
going
it.
to. I think my Christmas tree will go up the day after Thanksgiving. Lights and other stuff maybe before that. I'm kind of thinking. I think I'm leaning towards it. I don't care what people say.
You're definitely leaning.
I'm a renegade.
Oh, God. All right. What do you think of the beer?
You can't have Maverick without the word Rick. It is in there. Maverick. That's me.
Spell it.
You can't be a Maverick without Rick. Yes, sir. All right. Beer. What do you think of the beer?
I like it.
I love it.
Oh, my God. He loves it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.
A 4?
Tasty. It requires some work. It's not a beer you want to have with a lot of food, I would think.
No, it's a heavy beer. It's an imperial stout. It's a Russian imperial stout.
It's got a lot of its own flavors. Those flavors, you can definitely taste the oak barrels in it. Definitely has that whiskey taste. It
didn't say whiskey barrels. It said oak barrels.
But there's usually some whiskey in there, I would think.
No,
I don't know.
Not necessarily.
I might be jumping ahead.
You're jumping ahead.
But I taste it. I like it. I like the flavors. It's definitely dark. It's definitely coffee-ish.
And it doesn't mention coffee anywhere on it.
No. I don't taste the grape at all.
Nope.
It doesn't even taste that sweet to me.
Well, it's not supposed to be sweet.
Well, I'm just saying grapes.
Grapes. See, this is your problem. Ever since you were a child, you thought that things like wine would taste like your Welch's grape juice. And you were wrong. And anytime something says grape on it, that's what you want it to taste like. And that's not true. It's not going to.
You should bite my butt in a non-sexual way.
But will it be intimate?
I don't know. No, it won't. Hey, folks, thanks for listening to this epic disaster. We try to be a good podcast in spite of everything we've just talked about. We don't know what the hell we're doing. We can only make a disaster of a podcast, and that's what we've been doing for the past year. We are at a point where we're kind of evaluating what's going to happen next year. We did what we did this year. We are going to put a survey up on our website, thisepicdisaster.com, which will give you an opportunity to kind of tell us what you like about the podcast, what you don't like. It'll be totally anonymous, so you can be free to say whatever you want. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to hear next. Too long, too short? Do we talk too much about ripping Brazilian wax skin off?
Do we talk too much about specific subjects? Because if we do, we can avoid them.
Yeah. Can we add something? Can we take it away? Give you an opportunity to kind of give us some feedback, and that will help us next year as we plan for next year. And I think that's the thing. We're going to plan a little bit.
We need to actually plan. That'd be great.
And I do think we're going to have more interviews next year and more kind of fun stuff. We've had a blast doing this. It is not a podcast that brings in tons of audience, and we know that. But we like the audience that we have, faithful audience that stays with us. And we would ask that you share it with your friends. If you really like the podcast, say, listen to this podcast. They talk about wangs.
But let me ask you this. They are a faithful listeners.
Uh-huh.
If they listen to another podcast, are they cheating?
I don't think so. I give them permission.
Okay.
I give them permission. You can listen to. Just come back to us, please.
Please.
Tell us if you listen to another podcast. You can find everything about us on thisepicdisaster.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can write to us at thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. Give us suggestions. Give us hints. Give us testimony. Send us pictures of your wang.
No.
Oh,
no,
yeah. Don't do that.
No.
That's supposed to be don't send those pictures. Unless you just send them to Sherry because I don't want to see them.
No.
And, yeah.
Nope.
And if you're putting your Christmas decorations up, send us a picture of that because I want to see it.
I do want to see that,
before
but
Thanksgiving.
not until December 1st.
Do it before Thanksgiving. No. And we will see you here next Monday. I'm pretty sure. Won't we be Monday?
See them, but they'll be here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. This is a Violet Jester Media podcast.